It is 2 a.m., and the blue light of your screen is the only thing illuminating your dark room. You are tired. Your eyes are burning. You promised yourself you would go to sleep 3 hours ago. But your thumb moves upward, swiping to the next video, and then the next. Just 5 more minutes, you tell yourself. Just one more video before you close your eyes. Why do you do this? You know you have to wake up early. You know you are destroying your energy for tomorrow. Yet, you feel completely powerless to stop. You feel a wave of guilt, telling yourself you just lack discipline. But for 99% of modern humans, this isn't a willpower issue. It is a calculated dopamine hijack designed by behavioral psychologists. You are not weak. You are simply operating exactly how the algorithm trained your brain to operate. How did they trap you so effectively? To understand what is happening to your subconscious, we have to look at what your brain is actually doing in this moment. You think you are relaxing. You think you are winding down from a long, stressful day. But inside your skull, your neural pathways are firing in a state of chaotic hyperarousal. Every time you swipe, your brain releases a microdose of dopamine. Dopamine is not the chemical of pleasure, it is the chemical of anticipation. It is the neurochemical that drives you to seek, to hunt, to look for the next reward. What are you actually hunting for? In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner conducted a famous series of experiments. He placed rats in a box with a lever. When the rat pressed the lever, it got a food pellet. But Skinner discovered something terrifying. If the rat got a pellet every single time, it eventually got bored and stopped pressing the lever. But if the rat only got a pellet sometimes on a random, unpredictable schedule, it would press the lever frantically, obsessively, until it collapsed from exhaustion. This is called operant conditioning. More specifically, it is a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. It is the exact same mechanism used in casino slot machines. And it is the exact blueprint of the infinite scroll. Your thumb is the rat pressing the lever. You do not know if the next video will be funny, boring, or deeply emotional. That unpredictability is what keeps your subconscious locked in the cycle. How many times have you swiped past 10 boring videos just to find one good one? But the dopamine hijack is only the first layer of the trap. As the clock ticks past 2 a.m., something else is happening to your brain. You are entering the hypnagogic state. This is the transitional phase between wakefulness and sleep. In this state, your brain waves physically slow down. You shift from the fast, alert beta waves of the daytime into the slower alpha and theta waves. This is the exact state hypnotherapists use to bypass your conscious mind and speak directly to your subconscious. Your critical thinking barrier is completely lowered. Your logical defenses are down. You are no longer actively filtering the information you consume. You are simply absorbing it. When you scroll in this state, you are quite literally hypnotizing yourself. You are downloading the fears, the anxieties, the opinions, and the emotional turbulence of thousands of strangers directly into your subconscious mind. Do you realize how dangerous this is? Think about what you are actually watching. You see a video about a failing relationship, followed by a news clip about a global disaster, followed by a comedian, followed by someone talking about their severe anxiety. Your brain is not equipped to process this level of emotional whiplash. Consider the phenomenon known as the mere exposure effect. This is a psychological bias where people tend to develop a preference for things simply because they are familiar with them. As you scroll, you are exposed to certain narratives, aesthetics, and behavioral trends over and over again. Your subconscious begins to normalize them. You might see hundreds of videos trivializing severe mental health issues or promoting highly toxic advice. Consciously, you might know these videos are ridiculous. But subconsciously, the mere exposure effect takes hold. The sheer volume of repetition wears down your critical judgment. You slowly begin to adopt these subtle beliefs as your own, altering your real-world behavior without ever realizing it. So let's reconstruct what happens in your brain during this emotional chaos. Imagine you had a minor argument with a friend earlier in the day. It was nothing serious, but it left a slight tension in your mind. You lie in bed scrolling. Suddenly, the algorithm feeds you a video about toxic friendships. It lists the hidden signs that your friends secretly hate you. Because you are in that highly suggestible theta wave state, your subconscious latches onto this information. This triggers a phenomenon known as confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the brain's tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms its pre-existing beliefs. Your brain takes this random video and uses it as absolute proof that your friend is toxic. You start overthinking every interaction. You begin connecting dots that do not actually exist. The algorithm didn't just show you a video. It actively rewrote your perception of your own reality. And you let it happen because your conscious filter was turned off. Do you see how easily your thoughts can be manipulated? This brings us to another powerful psychological trap keeping you awake. It was discovered in the 1920s by a Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik. She noticed that waiters in a cafe could remember complex, unpaid orders perfectly. But the moment the bill was paid, they forgot everything. She realized that the human brain is wired to remember incomplete or interrupted tasks far better than completed ones. This is now known as the Zeigarnik effect. How does this apply to your late-night phone habit? The infinite scroll is an infinitely incomplete task. There is no natural endpoint. There is no bottom of the page. There is no final chapter to close. Because the task of scrolling is never finished, your brain remains in a state of unresolved tension. Your subconscious is waiting for the closure that will never come. This is why putting the phone down feels so intensely difficult. Your brain is screaming that the task is not yet complete. Will you ever reach the end? Every time you engage in this late-night ritual, you are actively rewiring the physical structure of your brain. This brings us to a concept known as neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout your life. It means your brain is like clay, constantly molding itself based on your repeated behaviors. When you repeatedly choose the instant gratification of a short video over the delayed reward of deep sleep, you are strengthening the neural pathways of addiction. You are thickening the connections that demand constant, rapid-fire stimulation. Simultaneously, you are weakening the pathways responsible for sustained attention, emotional regulation, and deep focus. You are training your brain to have an attention span of exactly 15 seconds. Is it any wonder you cannot focus on a single task the next day? You have quite literally sculpted your brain to reject slow, meaningful work. So, what is the counterintuitive twist here? The twist is that your attempt to relax is actually the very thing destroying your mental peace. You use late-night scrolling to escape your own thoughts. You use it to numb the stress of the day, but trying to numb yourself with a screen is actually making you more anxious. You are actively denying your brain the one thing it desperately needs to heal: silence. When you finally turn the screen off, the silence feels deafening. The anxieties you were trying to suppress come rushing back, completely magnified. Why does this happen? This is because you have not allowed your default mode network to activate. The default mode network, or DMN, is the network of interacting brain regions that activates when you are not focused on the outside world. It is the part of your brain responsible for daydreaming, reflecting, and processing complex emotions. It is how your mind cleanses house. When you constantly feed your brain external stimuli, your DMN never gets the chance to do its job. You wake up exhausted. You feel entirely disconnected from your own life. You experience brain fog because your subconscious never had the space to process the previous day. Look at your modern life. You rush from task to task, constantly plugged into audio, video, and text. You avoid boredom like a plague. But boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the resting state of a healthy mind. It is a blank canvas where your subconscious processes trauma, solves problems, and regulates your nervous system. By scrolling until you pass out, you are stealing that vital recovery time from yourself. You are forcing your brain to sprint a marathon while it is trying to sleep. Have you forgotten how to just be alone with yourself? The next time you find yourself trapped in the infinite scroll, remember this: you are not resting. You are actively programming your subconscious with the chaotic noise of the world. You are feeding the operant conditioning machine. You are falling victim to the Zeigarnik effect. You are letting the algorithm bypass your conscious defenses. You have the power to break the cycle. It starts by recognizing the trap for what it is. It is not a moral failing. It is a neurological hijacking. You must rebuild the boundary between your waking life and your sleeping mind. You must give yourself permission to be bored, to be quiet, to exist without input. It is 2 a.m., and the blue light of your screen is the only thing illuminating your dark room. But this time, you finally close your eyes.